Greetings. Shalom. I think this one might be quick because it's just a quick thought and point. Um, if someone wants to look at it, it's in the description. 4 minute, 5, 3, I don't remember. Short video. Maybe it's a little longer. It's pretty short. The point is way greater than what it's about, even. It's just look at the works. Look at it and see that there's nothing there, and that's all I've ever seen that go against. I keep seeing the consistent same works. Now they're different. The ways or explanations or whatever someone's trying to prove is a little different. That exists, but it's the same to me. There's nothing there. Why would someone do that? Why would they be so incredibly crafty and deceptive like that? Let me put some music in the background and some images and try to force you to believe something out of emptiness and darkness with no actual evidence or proof, with nothingness. This is what's being done the most everywhere concerning this one thing, his name. These are the works I see. I can't unsee it. These are the works. This is blind works. This is utterly blind. There's nothing there. There's no substance at all. That's proof to people. That's what's working for millions. Well, so it seems. And someone's proof is going to be a little different than someone else's and divided and against itself. Well, that's what you have to be when it goes against his word and truth. That's what it has to be, divided and against itself. It's just unreal. Can't even watch it for more than a short time anymore. I just know that's what's existing the most. That's what's happening everywhere the most for everything. This is how they work. This is how blind man works. This is how the devil's works work. It's nothingness. And if they talk a certain way, then they will make you feel bad or something to get on their side and worship their spiritual image. I mean, nothing can be said against what they're saying because they got someone to feel good and like them and worship them. It's unbelievable. Yes, prove and test all things. There is no proof in this. That's what this is proving and testing. That this kind of work is utterly blind and empty. Well, that's what it has to be. If it's going against the truth, that's what it has to be. It can't be anything else. It's a judgment. You have to be blind. The simplest things cannot be seen or understood, no matter how simple they are. Some people will see some of these carnal things and others won't, and then they'll be pitted against each other, and that person doesn't see what another does, and it just keeps going like that because of pride, and nobody can boast in reality. The truth can only come from him, not from ourselves. It's obvious we can see and do nothing. Well, it's obvious. I know that's the truth. Can do nothing apart from him. Like Messiah says, without me, you can do nothing. Can have no understanding in the heart for his word and no way to see it, no spiritual understanding and no way to live it in the heart. No way to do these real works, these real things to learn without him. And Messiah could do nothing without the Father. Now, we can't do anything without Messiah, whom we must believe in and go through to see the Father. And that's why Messiah says, without me, you can do nothing. Zero, nothing. And that takes an understanding to be given to see what that means, because it surely does not mean someone can call the grass green. That's not what Messiah is saying, that without him we can do nothing. We can't do anything real in the heart without him. We can't learn any of the real things without him. But yeah, it even applies for other things, and that's basically the whole point on this. This is the similar same exact works I'm seeing concerning this one thing, and that's what I want to bring out. If someone can see it, if they look at it, it's real short, and look at how there's nothing was said. It was just based on feelings, and it was just an attack at the end of the day. It's just an attack, and more confusion sent out to people to hide whatever truth is, in this case, about his name and these works. There was nothing in it. Zero. And apparently many believe that there is something in it. Something was proven because they wanted to believe that. They wanted to believe what the person was saying blindly, automatically, believing, in this case, some kind of feeling, sound. And notice also that people will say shalom, or they'll say Moshe. I think this one says Moshe, a little different. And I believe it's Moshe because there's a different marking for A sound. But the point is they will acknowledge the M sound by saying Moshe or Moshe. They will acknowledge that letter is M. They'll acknowledge the dot on top is O, so you get Mo. They'll acknowledge the shin letter as sh sound, just the same letter in Messiah's name. So they'll acknowledge Moshe. And if they say Moshe, then they acknowledged the vowel point that's the eh sound also. It's unbelievable. So they acknowledge that, but then they'll say a different word that has the same letters and markings in it, and they'll say it completely different. It's a contradicting work. People can't see it. It's a contradicting work. Now they're going to say that same identical thing is ah instead of oh. That's a lot different. Now, the same saying shalom, peace, the same letter in Messiah's name is in the beginning of that word, the shin, the sh sound. And then there's the vowel point that's the ah sound, which is in the Father's name under the vav, Yehovah. This is also in shalom. Okay, people will acknowledge that marking means ah. They will say it with their mouth, but then they say it's a mutation, the Creator's name. Then they say that same marking is something completely different, like A or whatever it is, whatever someone's saying. They're all over the place with their works. There's no consistency in it. People can't see it. It's what I want people to see. Look at the works. In this one, there was no proof at all. It was just, it doesn't sound like, it just sounds like English to me. That's it. That was their proof, that it doesn't sound like ancient, wonderful sounding Hebrew. Well, did they know that what the word grace sounds like? Chen. That's what it sounds like. Does that sound wonderful and amazing to someone? Or is that going to offend them? With the chet letter, which most people acknowledge, that's what the sound is. That's what's in one of the words with Noah, the first time it shows up, that specific Hebrew word with that letter in it. Chen, like the ch sound in for grace, favor. Well, that seems interesting to me that it's that sound. Or a name that has like a root connection to favor, grace, like the name Hannah is like, that's how it is. Hannah, like in the, with the sound in the beginning of that name. No, they're just all over the place. That's the point. So then in Shalom, there's the O sound in Shalom. O, and that's, why is it O? People will say they'll say that's the Hebrew word. They say that word. People say that word a lot. Why is it O in Shalom? Well, no clue. There's no reason. It's got the dot on top, doesn't it? When you look at the Hebrew, it's got the dot on top, just like in the Father's name. Yeho. Messiah's name. Yeho. Moses' name. Moshe. They will acknowledge that all over the place with many witnesses. They'll pronounce the O sound when the Hebrew word has a dot on top, but then all of a sudden, Messiah's name doesn't have that. Father's name isn't that. It can't be that. It's a mutation. Now it's Yeshua and not Yeho. Shua. Like they just ignore the letter Bob and the dot on top completely. Most will do and say when it's actually in there. Well, it's like ignoring the Y in my name. Okay, Ran or Ran. That's not my name anymore. Ran, is it? Or take out the B in Bob. Now it's Bo. We'll just skip a whole entire letter in its pronunciation when it's in there. Same three letters in Messiah's name as the Father's name. Yud He Vav with the same two vowel points. So then both have the two vertical dots under the Yud, which is, I fully believe it's which is yeah when combined with the Y, both Messiah and the Father. Then it has the He letter, the H sound second. Then there's the Vav and it has a dot on top. And Messiah's name has that dot on top too. So you have yeah, Ho, the vowel sound when it's on the top of the Vav. But when there's the marking under the Vav, it's also to pronounce the V, as it's also can be a V sound then. Yeho Va, because it's the sound, that marking. So then you say Va with no H pronunciation at the end because the He at the end doesn't have a dot in it. Sometimes in the Hebrew it has a dot in it, so there must be something to it. So then in Yah, there's a dot in the He. And I believe that means to pronounce the H at the end, Yah, because there's some kind of difference. And I don't know right now what else it could be besides that. But it's got the same marking in Shalom, the shortened name of the Father name, Yah. It got that T little mark under the Yud. That's in Moses's name. I mean, that's in Shalom. Shalom. They acknowledge that marking is by saying Shalom. It's in the Hebrew. That same marking is in Yehovah under the Vav. So there's got to be a sound somewhere, as in Father. Yehovah. Why is that so mutated and strange? I can't figure out why people think it's a mutation. The only reason I would have believed that for a short time is because it was a lie, because it's delusion. It's not true. I haven't seen anything to prove it wrong. I've never seen anything else. When the works are all over the place, that means there's something that's a lie. The works prove it. They contradict. Are we contradicting by being perfectly consistent with the same exact markings? How is that sin? I guess that's sin to people. That's the letter sin, like a snake on the left side, the dot. ABC 1, 2, 3. We can't learn the letters, sounds, and the vowel point sounds. Like no one can know how to pronounce my name. Sorry, it's a tetragrammaton. Ryan, you can't know. Wicked, because it's a tetragrammaton. I say so. I don't know why, I just do. I just don't want anyone to know my name. That's why I say it's a tetragrammaton, to confuse people. No other name in all of his word is a tetragrammaton except the Father's name, and it uses the same letters that thousands of words in Hebrew use the same letters that's in the Father's name, no different. And it's got vowel points like every other Hebrew word. What a strange thing. I wonder where people got that from, tetragrammaton. Something was really odd about the Creator's name when they looked in the Hebrew, wasn't it? Yud He Vav with the same marking in thousands of words and another marking in thousands of words. Yeah, that's a little weird to me, tetragrammaton. I mean, do we do evil by asking questions? Why on earth does that exist? Why is the Father's name treated like an object, like a thing, like the Trinity? The Trinity. What is that? Some kind of object, the beast? The Trinity. The tetragrammaton. No, that's evil. He's not a tetragrammaton anything. I don't care how they try to justify or explain it. They're never going to prove it. Because somebody says so out there. Prove in his word that it's a tetragrammaton. They can't do it. Now all of a sudden it's evil to use his word as part of proving and testing all things. They'll do that for other things themselves with their doctrines. Use his word, they'll say. But now we can't do what they do on his name, right? Can't do it. because it's against their snake doctrine. Once someone believes that, it seems like they'll believe anything. Once they believe tetragrammaton in their heart, they'll believe it's an object somewhere deep inside, somewhere in spirit. This is working like this because it's working. It's working. No one can prove that the Father's name is unique in that it doesn't use, or that it uses other letters in the Hebrew that no other name or word does. Yes, it does. There's no unique letter in it. It's not to say the Father's name is not unique in that it's only for him and it does mean something. That's not the point, but the literal letters is used in any other word all over the place. Seems like an image to me, a spiritual image to believe in someone's mind that's getting in the way, that doesn't exist. It needs to be destroyed within someone's heart. That's why the Israelites have to go destroy all their idols and images, because this is the delusion. This is the wickedness. It's a spiritual war. It's not physical. They get you to believe images, lying images that they sell and people buy by believing and eating them spiritually, by believing it. That's like eating food. There's unclean food spiritually, and it's unclean. That's going to defile someone, but not the natural thing, not the literal flesh food. That's why Messiah teaches that. But there is unclean food spiritually. Yes, there is. Otherwise, we would have teachings that you could believe whatever you want and there's no problem. It's no sin or danger in that. No, that is the unclean food in spirit, is lying. Anything that's a lie, believing it is unclean food. Anything that's deceptive is unclean spiritual food. That's why we read it, and that's how his word didn't go away, and every word needs to be lived by. But the carnal man will only see carnality if he tries to live by those words and letters. That's what needs to die in us, is all the carnality, and live by what those words mean in heaven, in spirit. This is a spiritual problem and delusion, no doubt, like any other lie out there, millions of lies. So it's way greater than just the Father's name. Look at the works. The works are all the same. Their proof is all the same. I mean, it's no proof at all. It's desperate. Can someone see the desperation in it? It's shaking inside. It looks like someone's crawling on the ground, shaking for another hit. That's what I see, desperation in spirit. It's desperately trying to prove something that can't be proven. And that's why it's blind, because it's a lie. That's incredibly crafty and deceptive. If someone can't see, it's going to trick them by getting you to believe that the Hebrew needs to sound a certain way, and then saying it sounds like English, and then that's it. There's the proof. And talking about the works, I don't care who does it. This is incredibly worthless, deceitful works. Can't be doing that with anything. Nothing like that. Is that seeking the Creator? Did those works that have been left behind, that someone believes in their heart to this day, that they really believe in their heart, those works are not the Father's works? It's deceptive. How is that the Father's works? Can someone prove how it is? Prove and test all things means try to get someone to believe a false image based on feelings. It's empty. There's nothing there. That's not the Father's works. That's a lying wonder. It's a lying wonder. People believe it. They're waiting for something to fall out of the sky, lying wonder. And that's going to be a problem if that's their understanding of lying wonder, because it's already always been true. Spiritual war, not physical lying wonder, as the understanding. It's smooth like a snake. And his word only starts coming alive and true when these things are starting to be seen. Otherwise, it looks like another day and everyone's doing good and everyone's pretty good. They're not doing any evil. That's why it's smooth like a snake. You don't hear it or see it. It bites. It's over. By the time you find out you're sick, you're going to die in just a short time. That's the only intention of a snake anyways. It can't be anything else than what it is. When it sheds its skin, it's still a snake. Changes names, deceives people, still alive out in the world. It's still a snake when it sheds its skin. It's deceiving people again under a new name. And this beast revives itself under someone else. Deceivers, who knows how often these deceivers out in this world, popular people, do this. That's what deceit is. It looks like 10,000 things could be true, doesn't it? Seems like that when we can't see perfectly, it seems like different things could all be true at the same time. It's been my experience. And my understanding of why that is so often is because lies have tiny little bits of truth exploded within it somewhere, a lot of them. It's mixed. So if you see tiny little bits of truth in every lie, you're going to see evidence for all of them being true when they can't be. That makes sense to me. Makes perfect spiritual sense to me. That's why so many different contradicting things can look to be true at the same time, because it's all mixed. That's what the confusion is. For evil, for lies, they're confusing, more or less. Nobody answers to why so many other names have the same exact 3 letters. And when they have the same exact 2 markings, they're pronounced the same. Yeah and yeah, ho, with the dot on top, the oh, they're all consistent. Why should we expect it to be different? Don't believe that's how the Hebrew works, where the same exact literal thing is 10 different things. It's one thing. If it's different, it must be something different, because that's sin, mixing, saying 2 different things are the same identical thing with no difference in sight at all. So that means that some words that have the dot on top and pronounced oh, other words that have that marking could be pronounced oo or ah at the same time. Then I ask, why does it have that marking if it could be anything it wants to be? It defeats its own purpose. If someone wants to believe that's how the Father's word works, they can. They will. I don't. It's a bunch of lying, contradicting, mixed works. Each thing must be separate and set apart and different if it's different, and it shouldn't change. If something is different, then it's going to be a combination or some kind of rule. It's going to be some kind of difference for it to be different. As soon as the same identical thing could be a different thing in his word, then there is no rhyme or reason for which one it could be. Which one is it now? Well, it could be both. It could be oo or oh, which changes the word's meaning. And see how deep this attack goes now. How does anyone know now what every word is? There's no way to know it if that was the truth. There's no way to know what any word actually is if this was true, and it could be whatever it wants, which means those marks have no purpose at all. Zero. None. As soon as it can be a different thing, it has no purpose. Even if it's the same thing with some words and then it's different here, it still has no purpose, because you could swap them anytime you want, and it could be whichever one you want at any time. Now do this with the rest of the letters and vowel points, and you have a serious mess. Do that with the rest of them, let alone one. Do that with, say, all of it works like that. How on earth? Well, that's what they want someone to believe, don't they? That you can't believe anything. They want you to believe that's who the creator is so that they destroy faith. That's what the attack is, spiritual attack. They want you to believe that's how the Father works, which is stupid and contradicting, which will destroy someone's faith. That's what it goes back to. We don't have to know everything to know some of these things, or to know whatever we've been given. We don't have to know everything in order for whatever is true to be true. And if we don't know everything, the things that are true and solid no longer, they try to make it like you don't, it's wiped out like a ball. You have to be the Almighty himself before anything is true. You have to know everything all at once. If that's not a heavy yoke and burden that they just did right there, which is an evil, vile work, which proves that what they're saying is a lie, because that's a massive sin. They think that they can't be proven sinners every time, step by step, for their works. That's something can't be proven as sin or evil. Yes, it can when he gives us sight. The questions go back to them, like Messiah asks questions back to them. There's a reason why, and there's a right way to do it, and there's an evil way to do it. To do the good way only, out of truth, out of concern for actual truth, not to attack someone, but genuinely asking genuine questions that are proving something's genuinely wrong. That's why, not for any other reason or intention. And then as soon as someone says it seems good in their heart that the Creator's name shouldn't be known at all by a single soul ever at any time, and that seems good, why would the Creator have a name? That was the same work as in this video link. Same work, different thing, same work. It just convinced itself that its feelings and sounds sounded good to its own heart. Based off of what? And utterly out of his word completely, because it just contradicted all his word. Now tell us how you believe that people that do this, all these verses about the Creator's name and that his people will know his name. If it sounds so good to you that that he shouldn't have a name, don't tell us you believe all these verses. You don't. No, they don't. So they just proved what they did and who they are and what they believe, didn't they? Prove that they despise his word and don't believe even the simplest of things when they determine something all on their own that contradicts his word about his name or any other given truth, anything. Just speaking about this one example now, though. But it works the same. It just convinced itself because of sounding and feeling good, because of desperately needing to, because it's in rebellion. It doesn't want the truth. It's why it came up with this crooked, blind lie. Desperate. People don't believe that that's what man is, that that's how he works constantly. That's who we are without the Creator. We're that. Gehenna fire, garbage, always burning for destruction. Where the worm does not die and the fire is not quenched, because wherever there's worms, the symbol of corruption inside. That's why the worms never die, because they keep feeding off of sin. Someone's understanding is that the literal worms never die in the fire of flames to come and torture people forever. And that's why the worms never die. They never sought after the Creator's truth on that, did they? How could they? The Creator cares about worms, immortal worms. See, as soon as something's a lie, it becomes stupid also. The true understanding is not stupid. It has meaning that's valuable and important today, right now. The lie has no value or meaning. What about immortal worms in the future? What is that? So we have to question it. What does it imply? What does a false teaching imply also secretly that it's already doing? It's already implying and teaching things through silence. In spirit, that's what someone gets to believe a false doctrine, but then they don't realize all the things it's meaning, and you just eat it all up without testing it. No one has to believe anything. They don't have to believe the Father's name is Yehovah, but they do have to prove how it's not without contradicting hypocritical evil works. Because if that's spotted, then they're not doing the truth, because truth doesn't contradict. It doesn't leave contradicting, self-defeating, killing itself with its own gun works behind. That's what I see. If it helps to picture that when we see those works, it helps that someone just took themselves out with their own gun. While saying someone is guilty over there, you're guilty of, stealing, and then it shoots itself. If that picture helps to see that that's what these works are spiritually, it helps me at times. That when you say the exact same thing as oh, or now it's now it's that's what people are leaving behind for works. It's proving something's wrong. It's defeating itself and contradicting its own self without even realizing it. They know not what they do, but it needs to be said. That's the works that I'm seeing left behind. And now if someone can prove that that's not what's being left behind, they should and need to prove that that's not what's being left behind, these works. Prove how it's not contradicting by all means. There's nothing wrong with proving all things. That's what we want. If we're in error, prove it so that, we can get corrected. This is genuinely what I see, though. I'm not saying it to try to defend something. This is what I see. And I see problems. I'm seeing problems everywhere else. I'm seeing problems with the works, with the fruit, the works. You'll know them by their works, because the Father doesn't move us to continually forever do evil, contradicting works forever. That's how you know them, by their works. It doesn't mean we'll never make mistakes, but those that don't know him will continue in this. They'll never change. That's how you can know them, by their works. After it's proven that they contradict and they still continue on, and forever the same, or wax even worse. It does prove something. The man is already enmity to whatever is good and true. He doesn't want to go in that direction. But what will people do? Well, this link says you love seeking truth. You love it. You brainwash your people to believe that what they're doing is seeking truth when it's not. You tell them this is what you're doing. I don't know that someone's doing that unless I truly, start seeing that. That's what I would want someone to do, but I'm not going to tell someone this is absolutely what everyone that's listening is doing. How do I know that? I would want that, but I don't know that in the beginning with everyone. I don't know that. But many are claiming that. And they start off in the video by saying, you do seek truth. You love seeking truth. Okay, we got questions for you. Why do you say shalom? Why do you say it like that? Why do you say Moshe or Moshe even? Why do you say it like that? And those same things exist in the Father and Messiah's name, and you say this is butchered and wrong and not Hebrew now. Answer the questions. You have to go outside of his truth when it's a problem. Notice. You can't go through what we're asking to go through. Go to the Quran now. Go to whatever some institution has said and declared is true. The Trinity is true for thousands of years. You have to go outside somewhere, out in the world, somewhere else outside of his word when it's a problem. Because if you went directly, you would be spotted, but you've already been spotted. So don't think that people think the creator can't see what they're doing. They've already been spotted by the creator. I don't have to know that. The creator knows that. They're already being judged right now and spotted for their works. And it's all going to come on them someday and be exposed for everyone, including us, whatever we did. So even that's a delusion where you think you can hide as long as you don't go through what someone says to ask to go through. It's already spotted. by someone not being able to go through a certain way is already proof that they're running and hiding from something. It's already spotted. But in their mind, as long as they don't go through that way, they think they can still hide. No, they can't. No, they can't. They wouldn't believe the very same things about their own language. It's hypocritical too. They wouldn't believe the very same things and how it works with their own language, with their own words and names, and would say it's simple. And nope, not a fool cannot err. All of a sudden, when it comes to the Father's name, though, everybody errs and nobody can know it. They wouldn't do that to their name or their language, nobody, and apply it the exact same way to themselves. They would say, here's how you know, here it is. And while they show you, if they were to, they're going to reveal their contradiction because they're saying you can do it over here, but it's impossible over here. It's the burden of proof to prove his word wrong. Prove that it's been all lost and nobody can even know the sound of a letter. Prove it wrong. It's going to be a monstrous task, impossible task. Prove that it's gotten lost. Well, the only way to do that is to create a tetragrammaton, a tradition that doesn't prove that, and get them to believe that. And through believing that, that's how they prove it. It's tricky. They didn't actually prove anything. Showing a piece of paper that has some other Paleo Samaritan script and saying, here it is, here's the Samaritan. And then asking, is this the original though? What we read, what we see, those square letters. Is this the original though? And then show you this other thing is not proof. It's not proof. It's nothing. It's worthless. But people don't want to go there. They don't want to believe the world's deceived. They don't want to believe the world's not spinning because everyone believes it. Most people believe it. So then they base their truth off of what the majority believes and says. They don't seek the truth. Seeking truth is waiting on him, and wherever he leads us, that's where we are, regardless of what's going on in the world. That's what seeking truth is. Not giving some false definition and meaning to it, like feel-good stuff. That's deceptive. That's evil. If I say, should I talk like a snake now so that I get someone to believe what I'm saying? Take a little bit of the edge off and talk like I could do that. Many people are doing. It's evil if they're doing that on purpose. Many are doing that on purpose. They're not themselves. You don't see who they are. You wouldn't see that person if you caught them on some random day, the same person that they listen to. You wouldn't see the same person. That's a deception if you don't see the same person. It means they're doing something, masquerading, changing, deceiving, morphing, which is what I grew up with the ministers, especially one of them that I can remember. I know what he was like in the backyard. I know. Nothing like behind the pulpit. Zero. Yeah, man. Yeah. Da, 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 da. Behind the pulpit, though, behind the pulpit, brothers and sisters, loved ones. Oh, the grace of God. Those mansions, literally remembering the words too. The golden mansions and streets of gold that he has waiting for us. Loved ones. It was literally that bad, like that. It's not good. Why is someone doing that? Why? Why are they doing that to people? And some maybe not as much. I understand that. But there's many people doing that though, more or less. Then that's not who they are in real life. That's not who their kids know their dad is. It's not who family knows they are, but they can't say anything to the man in charge. The kids can't say anything. Family can't say anything. There's some kind of wicked authority going on there through the devil or something. Now, you're not allowed to talk about your family's delusions because that would reveal your own. Stay quiet. Stay quiet next to your popular, rich, and famous son. All kinds of crazy things are going wrong, but you have to kind of try to hide it right next to him. You can see that he's lying, but you have to kind of keep smiling because the cameras are on. Twitching a little bit, some signs that you're covering up something and you're trying to keep it a secret family because that's what family does. It keeps secrets. It doesn't tell the truth to its own self. It keeps secrets from within itself. That's what a family does. Well, that's how darkness and destruction comes on families because of these works. Because these are no good works. These are lying, evil works, deceiving. There is a way to do what's right without going and pouring out everything about your family too, which people could see that. Right away this truth is going to be attacked by people out in this world. Can't see a good way to do something. What do we read in Proverbs? Like the talebearer reveals secrets. It's like his job. He goes out and rats on everyone. Don't be that person's, one with them. Be in trouble. Can't be one with that person that does that kind of work all the time, going around slandering people with an evil intention. This is what I see, just looking at the works. Just look at it without partiality, without favoritism for anything and anyone, because you're not looking at attacking someone. There's a way to do this. Just looking at what the lie or truth or whatever is being looked at and examining it. Now, if someone says that this can never be done, automatically never, well then, there's a lot of questions for them about what Messiah did, what the disciples did, what the prophets of old did. A lot of questions for them. If this can never be done a good way, then they all did wickedness and evil, especially Messiah. You do all these kinds of things and much more. You do many things similar like this, he told them. If he told them everything, more things they did, it would be a long talk. Why did John the Baptist get his head cut off? I think most people know for saying something. See, the works of darkness naturally want whatever is true to be hidden and hushed up. And so many people put that finger on their mouth that are popular, I've noticed on YouTube. So many of them do it. It's incredible. Why are they doing that? Why do they have pictures of themselves and images real quick, like a second or two, or, here and there with the hush symbol on their mouth, just out of the blue? Why is that being done all over the world without partiality by different people? Not claiming that every soul does this everywhere all the time, but this is pretty consistent. It's being done a lot. Why does the Monopoly guy do it on the board game on some versions or many? Why? What are they trying to hide and hush up? That they're devils? That's what the devil inside of them does? That's his work? Shh, I'm deceiving you. And then if I let you know with these symbols, that means I'm doing good. Now it's on you. I told you the truth now. Now it's on you and I'll blame you. Why did you believe me? Idiot, stupid, someone will do and say, you shouldn't have believed me, you idiot. That's how they try to dump their sin on someone else, taking no responsibility for it themselves. Just blame someone else for their deception that they purposely do. And then say, you shouldn't have believed me. You shouldn't have deceived that person on purpose. Have they ever asked that question or thought of that phrase for themselves? Why are you doing all that on purpose and then blaming the people you deceive? What, do you think you're not going to deceive anyone? Of course, that if someone goes out and does that, they're going to catch some people, no doubt. Then blame them for you deceiving them directly, and then blame them for being deceived. Stupid, evil. Now, if someone changes their name and fakes their death, that's works left behind that they could care less about all their worshiping fans. Proof. It's over. If you cared about people, you wouldn't deceive them that violently. Well, you wouldn't be on the stage anyways, but this is just bringing out that that's the work left behind. That was an evil work. You don't love them. You don't care about them. Keep convincing yourself you do. Whoever does that work deceived potential millions or billions of people, depending on how popular they are, if that happened. Deceivers. And they slip into another deception. They have to die in that delusion. They can't come out of it. They have to believe that they're doing good now while still deceiving people. Every second they breathe, if they're another person, they're deceiving someone. Yeah, I know that's not how man works. That's good to him. It's not sin. If someone wants to see the judgment of the Creator come down on them, fake your death and become another person and live it for 10 years and see what happens to you. Then you'll start to know what these people's condition is. No, don't do that. Someone would be afraid to do that, maybe. Now, that must not be easy, living a lie every day. That must not be an easy thing that's happening within themselves. It's going to be a strong judgment. What an utter trap by the Creator. Doesn't even let them come out of it, most of them. They have to live and die in that thing. Maybe some try to come out at some point and they can't. They just have to slip into another lie and think in their mind, if it's a little lesser of the first one, that maybe this is the good thing now, and it's still deceiving. People think that's good. It's not good. Let them believe it, though. Deceiving Jacob with his mom, deceiving his earthly father is good. Where someone actually believes something that doesn't exist and isn't true and real at all, and you get them to believe that this is good, no fear in their eyes. They're going to say that Jacob didn't sin, that this wasn't an evil work. And other examples in his word of this deception constantly is not evil. Why do we read it? Saul wanting to pierce David by pretending to love him is not deceptive and evil. Get close to me so I could put a spear through you through the wall, chase you like a dog, then get into confusion. I know there's something to understand here, and then cry a little bit after David proves he could have killed him and didn't. Then what does he do after? He repents for repenting. Was it real? Well, that's, someone needs to discern whether that was really real, because he went back to that other thing after that. How does someone do that? Someone can say it's happening all the time, because that repentance wasn't real, wasn't genuine in the first place if it goes back to it full blown and wants to kill him again. It was some kind of delusion in that person's mind. They just thought they did that, and they didn't. The works prove it. Pharaoh didn't do good. He went after and to kill them again. After looking like letting them go, why did he let them go? After all these severe plagues, after his own firstborn and all these others die, That's not good. That's like being forced to do what you don't want to do. He never did good at any time, zero. And then when he finally did let them go, he repented for this no good thing that he was forced to do and didn't want to do in his heart at all. Because, okay, I just lost my kid. What else can the creator do? I think it's finally severe enough. His father's going to show the power and his wrath, a righteous wrath, that nobody can mess with him, that man is nothing, just a weak nothing, that man should fear the creator, or else we'll end up like Pharaoh. One or the other, good or evil. Not that we're good of ourselves, but nevertheless, there is a way to go through and become what we need to become. The Father's righteousness in us. That's why we read that, because it's not our own. It's not our own. And he boils up and sees them going away and can't believe what he's done. He can't believe that he went blind. All those plagues meant nothing to him. Nothing. He went blind again. It's proving that the plagues don't exist in his mind. That's how blind the judging is. So strong. It's a strong blinding. It meant nothing now. Let's go and kill them. And they got flooded to their end. That was the end. That's what their end is for just trying to destroy his people. Their end will be like Pharaoh, strong destruction within themselves. A bitter end, except depending on some books out there, says that Pharaoh repented or something right before the floods got down on him, and an angel saved him and put him back in the land, and he ruled for many years. Jasher, Jubilee's one of them, contradicting his word utterly, perfectly. And then that's his word, contradiction. It's not like a little typo spelling thing or something on a word. This is a completely different story that contradicts. And way too many other things to name. So what's true in something like that and what isn't true? How does someone know? Once a few things are proven to be lies, what about all these other things? Do they know whether all these other details are true? If people will believe that it's true, they'll just say, this is amazing. This completes his word that's missing in Genesis. Now here it is. Here's the details that were missing. We never considered that Genesis is supposed to be the way it is on purpose, and that these other details are from the devil. And if it happens to be right about some things, it doesn't matter. That's not what truth is, just happening to be right. One out of 100 things, toss it away from their heart. But that's all I've seen. I don't even like checking, but I checked. I looked at something today and it was no good again. Something that's against that specific name, and it's no good. I've never found anything good. Never found anything that wasn't blind yet that specifically goes against his name. Never. I'll put it in if I do find it, which would be a contradiction if I do find it. That means the truth and lie can be a truth at the same time. Because if this is the truth, then there is nothing that can contradict it. All of the works will be something similar to that over there, the lie, or desperate in the same way. But people say truth is simple. The simplest thing is the truth. The truth is the simplest possible thing. Just not with what's, just not against their own doctrine. No, doesn't apply now. Just not with the creator's name. The simplest thing isn't the most likely or, possible truth. Not now. It's the most complicated thing that's the truth, right? That's what I take out of what people really believe. It's incredibly complex when it's not. I don't see anything complex through lying works that make things complicated and tricky and deceiving. I just see simple. It takes the simple nothings and confounds the wise. What does that look like in 2022? What's an example of that work? Or are those words there for no reason? The Father never does this. Well, hello, here's an example. Something incredibly simple, and it's confounding the wise, so-called. It's happening constantly. With the truth being simple. Every individual truth is simple. Because it's not a lie. It just is what it is. And that's going to be a problem too, I know. Depending how far gone someone is in darkness, But it could be a problem for a believer too until they win this battle over something. Because something being simple is going to bother someone because it's simple. They don't want to believe it was that simple. It just makes their image look worse. See, that's a problem too. Forget the damnable image. That's exactly what the evil is, worshiping our own image, worried about our own image. So then what we read thousands of times is the same thing, same letters, it's all the same. It's simple. It's like any other Hebrew word or name. In that way, it's no different. And the root words have the meaning of self-existing, and it's easy to prove within his word. How is this corrupt and meaning the Elohim of destruction, like people say, that I fought for a while? Those root words have nothing to do with meaning the Elohim of destruction at all, zero. Now the root word etymology doesn't apply. We do root word etymology, and now it doesn't apply. Now doing what someone claims they do with the Father's name is wicked. To say that the root word is hava and haya, and they both have this meaning of self-existing, and they're used separately. In context, it can be proven that has that meaning built into it. Different shades could be used, but it fits the context of those root words being used individually, have that meaning. Now it's evil to do honest root word etymology on his name because it goes against what they say. Now they don't do what they say everywhere, just wherever they want to choose to do it. Now it must be wrong. Now you can't believe this or that or this or that, but they could believe the same root word etymology for whatever they say. Now something's wrong. They know somehow that you can't believe it over here. You can't do the same thing that they do elsewhere with other words. Now they know something about you can't do it over here. It's definitely wrong. You can't believe that. Is that going to be proven? Or is the actual proof for anyone that can see is that the reason why they're doing that is because they don't want it to be true, and that's why they're saying that? Isn't that the proof? That's why they say you can't believe that over here, because they don't want it to be true. Now that's a lot more likely most of the times for everything to be the case than someone actually being honest about saying you can't know this over here or there. The odds of them knowing themselves is pretty close, to zero. If it's a lie, then it is. How many witnesses do they need? 2 or 3 witnesses? A few thousand witnesses isn't enough. Now their 2 or 3 witness thing goes in the garbage too. Now if we do that, and a lot more witnesses than 2 or 3. Now if we do that, it's evil. Now it's no proof, it's no evidence, it's nothing, it's garbage now. So if we find 3 witnesses that line up and agree with each other, it can't even be looked at now, it's garbage. Then someone has the burden of proof to explain why and how the Creator didn't make a way for his name to be preserved in his word at all. Why and how? Why would he do that? Explain that too. Why would we read all these things about his name and his people knowing his name, but then he literally made no way to know it, when that it's not in his word at all, but he speaks about these other things with his name? Why would the Creator do that? Because he's trying to hide his name from his own word with intention. It's a pretty strange, evil work. Do that on purpose with intention. He obviously lets everything else happen to it, just about. I don't see any proof that he allowed it to happen actually where it's not in his word at all and can't be seen and shown. Well, he'll let everything else happen that's even remotely slightly different than that. Yeah, obviously. Look at the world. But did he actually allow that to happen for real, that you can't know it within his word? Did he actually do that? I don't see it. So when someone says that those vowel points are wrong, that they've been added to, they need to explain why they say words that line up with the Hebrew for those vowel points with other words. But they won't. See, they say part of this thing is trying to get someone to believe that it's something else, but they don't know what it is. It's not the vowel points that are in there that can be found. It's something else, and it's a mutation. They contradict within their own things. It contradicts because they say different things. That's what I've found. It's explained differently. That contradicts its own self. Some things will say that those ones that we see have gotten added there, even though they'll say words that have the same sound and all these other words, exact same. But now when it comes to the Creator's name, that same exact thing doesn't have the same sound all of a sudden, or say that it's something else, but they don't tell you what it is. They say it's a theory. It might be this, it might be that, but it's nowhere to be found in his word, though. It's not a good sign that someone says it's something else, but they don't have anything to show you for what it is. Why would someone do that? Because they're attacking the truth. They can't believe what's actually there. So then when you try to say it's something else, they don't have anything else to show for because it's a lie, just a trick. I think that's it. More could be more could be said about it, but that's it. Why is it being done like that the most? Why is it even questioning so incredibly strongly, desperately, what is in there and cannot believe what's in there? Why? And then we find that they obviously don't want it in there. They prove they don't want it in there because they put Lord in most Bible translations. Just more signs that they don't want the name there. They don't want people to know. They're working for their Father. Never tell you who they work for. They'll say Father and God. Well, that's an image in masquerade. The Creator is called Elohim and Father. Well, so is the devil. So they'll say Elohim and Father too. Of course, the enemy's not actually called that because he's not the true. He's the false, the Elohim of this world. But, it will be called that, same words. Of another spirit. Everything I've looked into for this, none of it has made any sense. It's all been confusion to me. That's what I see. And feel-good theories about what they want and think it should be. It seems that's all it can be, just different versions of that same work. Where two people might come in agreement because they both say it's definitely not Jehovah, but how they got there is a little different. But then they can agree with each other because they come to the same result. But how they got to that result is completely different and contradicting from its own self, but they'll agree with each other because the end result's the same. I guess that's not a problem too, that's definitely not a problem either, that how they got there is contradicting its own self. But because the end result's the same, who cares? Well, that's how man works. Bottom line, you got the money? Let's go then. Who cares? What was done in between? Let's just forget it. Let's go. Or then just kill everyone so you can grab it all yourself at the end. That temptation rises in someone that's doing that much evil. That's why they show that in the movies all the time. Because they're pouring out what their heart is and what they do in real life. They do that in their heart every day, all the time. They do that. That's why they like to do that. Why is it in there all the time? Why is all this evil in there all the time? Because that's who they are. You just make a movie about what your heart is. That's it. And it manifests into a movie, which will line up with the Father's word, with all the evil that's being done and why it's being done. For all of why it's being done. Because that's good, that's entertainment. It's wise to trick someone and kill someone, as long as it's called the good guy and the other is called the bad guy. You do the same works as the bad guy. It's just you pick sides and say it's good because you like him more. He's the good guy then. He did the same evil that the other guy does all the time. But that was wise. And people on the other guy's side will think the same thing about their enemy. They're against each other doing the same thing. They just pick sides. They're just stuck on some side. But they're doing the same evil. Crips and blood, whatever. Same evil. Republicans, Democrats. Choose your side. The one you choose that agrees with all the other people, obviously that's the right side. And then the other side, if you join those people, obviously you've picked the right side. And they're against each other. Being against each other is proving that this is all darkness and evil and corrupt. That's how it's got to be. That's how it's got to be. If they were on the creator's side, they would not love the world. That's the world, Republican and Democrat. That's worldly things, thinking about worldly things and working out of the world in the world. They wouldn't love the world. They wouldn't attack and do evil to this side or that side. You're just not of it at all. Not one with that. Separate. There's different ways to that somebody, there's different ways and means by how someone loves this world, and that's their thing. That's how they love the world, which is a little different than someone else's how they love the world. And they'll be divided against each other, but they both, through their different things, love the world. No different in the heart. Then if you don't vote, if you don't do this, if you don't do that, you're evil now. You are the problem for obeying the Creator and loving your enemies. You are the wicked problem and snake. If you don't vote now for some heretic that can only think about self-gain and doesn't care what he does, only cares about an image to please the people for an image. It doesn't matter all the corruption, lies, and evil. As long as they believe the person is doing good in their mind, that's all they care about. They pour that out through Hollywood, and they pour out who they are in Hollywood through their movies. Violently pour themselves out for what they do and why they do it. They mock themselves all day long that this is a giant joke. That politicians, when nobody sees them in the movies, they show you what they do in real life. That they could care less about all those people because they're doing evil. They tell you that's what they do, and nobody can see it in this world. Hardly anyone. That they're just mockers and scoffers and could care less about those people that they make an image for caring that. They show you all day long in the movies that they do this, and it's real. They do this. Someone might say it's a movie that didn't literally happen. It's like, wow, not the point. That same work is being done in real life. Not saying that that literal thing in this moment in this movie is what some guy did in real life at that time, perfectly at that second, exactly like that. The same work is being done. What do they show in the movies too? When the crowd sees you, you change your image so that no one sees you do those things that they show you people do when no one's looking. When people see them now, then they stop doing those things. So that's what they do in the real world so that nobody can see. But they slip up all the time. They pour it out in the real world. But they try. They try to create an image when they go out again. It was a good idea in their mind for some strange reason to be a politician. I wonder what drove them to it. I wonder where that idea came. And I wonder why it wants to do that. Why? So it can make more money than whatever it's doing now and get some fame. That's why. For the care and concern of the people, that's the image of the beast. That's what you will say you're doing it for. But it's actually for the money. It's for your own self-gain. You'll just say that when you need to now, and people will believe the image. That's how desperately wicked the enemy is, and that's how crafty it is. Everyone will believe it over the truth when it's standing next to it. They'll believe the image. And anyone that doesn't worship the image of the beast, they'll be killed by these people. Be hated and murdered, attacked, killed all the day long, spiritual war. Because you don't worship their gods and their images and the things that they do. You don't worship their stars. Their all the different kinds of stars, Hollywood stars, music, whatever, movie stars. They're stars. They're the messengers of light in the firmament, stars that shine in the spotlight. They're the true stars. This is what a good person is. You're a scum if you do the Creator's will. You're nothing. You've never done as much good as these people in 10 lifetimes. That's what they'll put on everyone. Yeah, the day of revelation will show they did zero good, none. They think it's about numbers. Everything's a product to them. Got masses behind me. I got hundreds of millions of souls we saved. Preacher man. Just a wicked product to them. Think they care about any single individual? They could care less. They're hirelings. They don't care. That's what Messiah said and taught. They don't care for the sheep at all. None. They don't care about any one individual. When someone spots them with a camera, they have to put on their act and make it look like they care about that one person. Why? Because the camera's on, running. Who knows what was said if it wasn't running? Who's going to prove it? It'll just be hearsay like it always is, and then that's all divided and mixed up. If the woman didn't have the camera, where's the proof for the world? Where's the proof in court? Just hearsay. If that person then went and said, this is what that pastor man did to me, who's going to believe her? And if a few do, it doesn't matter, because the many never will that follow the person. They'll attack those people that might be saying something true that someone said about them. They won't be believed anyways by the many, because their followers will attack them. And the false prophet knows something about this. He knows something about this evil deception, that they'll defend him to their death. Obviously, that's not the true way. It's worshiping someone. Well, their folly is being poured out. But it doesn't matter to them that that's happening. It doesn't matter to them. You know, what's on someone's mind right now? In it, like, what are they thinking about right now? What's on their heart? Right? If it's not money or lust and more fame, I'd be on the floor, shocked. They, it's not in a jet right this minute thinking about that. It's all it can think about. Everything else is just say the words real quick so that the image looks right. We don't care about anything. Just say the words real quick so that the people will believe it. Or if they don't believe it, too bad. I said the words. Now I can say I said those words. No, they're not even worried if someone believes them when they don't need to be worried about it. As long as they said the words and that's what they know will get out, then you did your dirty job real quick. You said the words to hide and cover like a snake in the grass. Don't they show that too? Some things are coming to mind. They show that too, don't they? They pour out that that's what people do. They pour out that they could care less about what they're claiming to care about, that that's the least thing they care about. They just do that just because they have to worship their image and get people's image to be bought, whatever they're selling. They just do that because they have to real quick. What they're really doing and why they're doing it is a whole other thing. Looking into this all, and I'm not and I'm not able to prove it wrong. That's why I believe it, because I haven't been able to prove it wrong while not doing all these other evil works. It does come to a pretty simple conclusion. Lots of objections in the comments. Another confusion in the word comes across. Did you notice that in a reply to a comment, he said the New Testament promotes a sun god? Okay, must sleep, love, and wisdom from above. I did not see that specific thing, but I've seen so many things like it that doesn't surprise me. But yeah, that's insane to say that the New Testament promotes a sun god. How on earth did they come up with that? My goodness, do they know how easy that would be to prove wrong and stupid? That's desperate. Because maybe they found one word and now something happened in their mind, some mixed up thing. See, it doesn't work through truth. Something happened in their mind and it was wrong. It was mixed up. It was a confusion, and that's how they came to this conclusion. Or they wanted it to come for whatever reasons they might want to come to that conclusion. Then they found by which means it comes to that conclusion. They wanted that to be true. That could have happened too. You know, who knows exactly how for any given person in any given moment, but wow, that's never even crossed my mind now. 8 years looking back, I don't think it's ever even crossed my mind. Didn't even cross my mind that the New Testament teaches, what does it say? Promotes a sun god. It's incredible. We really do have to wait on the Creator and trust in Him, or else we'll believe that the Father's word and maybe even Messiah himself promotes a sun god worship or anything like it. Yeah, the world does have a weird problem with the sun, or it's had throughout the ages. Seems pretty obvious because the sun is life. They got tricked by the Creator's creation. They worship the creation and not the Creator. Tricked in a delusion because the sun gives literal life on the literal earth. It must be God. And without it, everyone would die. Isn't that God? Tricky. It's not tricky for anyone that can see that's a delusion. Now they have to ignore those scriptures that teach these warnings because they're in there. They're in his word that specifically warn about these things. And don't do this, don't worship this, don't do this, and get tricked and dismayed by the heavens and go, wow, that must be some kind of God or something, attributing it to some false God or something. Or as strong as saying it is God itself. But I think what they've done is attribute it to some kind of God, or usually multiple gods, what, the nations of old have done. But I think it's just hidden a little better today because it seems like this paganism is everywhere. It's just not quite as hardcore maybe in the flesh, but it's scattered everywhere, all these symbols and faces and pagan things and sun symbols everywhere. Someone open their eyes and see how often we're everywhere in restaurants, everywhere, so many places. Whatever, if that's what they want to decorate their wall with, but that's what I've noticed. Saturn worship, a whole entire car company. I don't think it's any longer calling itself Saturn. No doubt that's connected to some kind of pagan thing, and that's why the thing named itself Saturn. Will they tell you that? Not likely. They'll give you some other meaning or definition when their definition is not likely at all. The whole entire Earth, they say, is going around the sun, and the sun is enormously bigger than everything in existence, and it spins and worships it day and night. The giant sun. Look how delusion works. Here it is. It works like this with everything. Either the sun is closer, way closer than what they say, and way smaller, or all you have to do is people look at the same sun in the sky and go, wow, that's a huge, monstrously big sun, bigger than the whole Earth by I don't know how many times, way bigger. It's not what they literally see, but nevertheless, why? Well, because it's really far away. And then that size shrinks, and the numbers are so big, someone's going to think the math is right. Because they're so big, who's going to even check? What are they going to check? Most people won't even mess with it. They'll just say, yeah, well, that seems right. Millions of miles away. That's why it looks like it's small. Or it's small in contrast to that, and close in contrast to that. And two things exist, and they can't both be true at the same time. And you look up and one person believes a lie, and they're looking at the same thing. It's powerful how deception works. It's an image that they believed in their mind. I think nobody would notice if we were traveling 60,000 miles per hour and spinning on a 1,000 mile per hour, whatever, tilt, spinning, rotating, and then moving and traveling. Nobody notices. Because when you're in a train, deceptive. That's not the same thing as being in a train. Oh, when the train does turn on the tracks, you can notice that momentum shift a little, can't we? So even that's broken. But the Earth's constantly going in a circle, so it's not going straight at an insane speed and nobody notices it. Should there be a little difference by the time it's on the other side of the sun for the people over there than when it was on the other side of the sun for the same people there, and there's no difference, as if it's not moving? And then they say this is the wicked thing, this is stupid. To believe the Earth's not spinning and moving is stupid now. Though his word does line up with this, and quite a few scriptures on it. Not even one that says the Earth is moving and spinning like that. It's not a science book. It's not a science book. The Creator's confused about his creation. It's not a science book. That's how they get people to try to believe the lie, by saying it's not a science book. So they don't believe the wisdom of this world is foolishness. In their Bible they claim to believe in. So many in the church world, wisdom of this world is foolishness. That never applies to them in reality. When it does, they're against it and will say it's not a science book. Oh, it's a spiritual problem. And that's how he proves it to me, way more so. Because if the foundation moves, that's a teaching. Father does everything through parables. His creation's teaching. It's screaming out words, uttering speech day and night. If the foundation's moving like crazy, then spiritually, there is no firm foundation. There is no, you don't move, you're firm. You don't change. The truth doesn't change. It's moving constantly. And it's a spiritual problem in teaching. Massive contradiction. Why is it moving and spinning so fast? It has no meaning? No, that's people. That's what their heart is. They change like the earth spinning and moving constantly. The earth is a firm foundation. It cannot be moved. When someone builds a building, they want a firm foundation. The foundation the creator laid is not firm apparently, and it's moving and it's not what we read, not movable. But if you don't know what's deep down under, what we just said can't be true at all, because you don't know the outside of its own borders, which they're requiring you to be the creator in order to know something that we can know is true. Now you have to be the creator to know. Did you go 20,000 miles down? Did you go outside? Did you go so high or whatever? So once again, they don't believe what we read in Job. Where were you when this was created? And way more detail than that. Were you there? Were you even close to there? You weren't even born when the creator made everything. Do you understand and see how it all works like he does? No, we don't. But they require you to know that, which is to require going against his word. They require you to go against his truth to know truth. Stupid. I don't know of a single teaching in his word that requires you to go against his truth in order to know another truth. You have to attack truth in order to know truth. Why is it stupid that when everyone looks up, they're all looking up? Why is that stupid? It's amazing to me. Up is up, down is down, and that's true everywhere, you know, anyone goes. But if you go to Australia, it's in someone's mind that up is not up. But in reality, up is still up over there. They can't prove that wrong. They can't prove that it's down. Can't do it. You can only prove it through a delusional belief in someone's mind, through trickery. That's their proof, so-called. With a lot of faithlessness in his word, even if we don't understand what it means, they don't believe what they read. Just a matter of time before I stumble across some video that has an introduction with a spinning globe in it instantly, or somebody's head spinning in a spacesuit, and they're, they call themselves wretched, and they got globes in their head spinning in a spacesuit for their introduction. Spinning. Their own head spinning. Making fun of its own self. Comments disabled. You're not allowed to comment on the wretched because I don't like your comments. all of them have to be good, no correction allowed. All of them have to worship me and be good towards me. Love is to correct someone if that's what they really believe and see, for a good intention, not out of attacking. But no, I want people to hate me by loving me only, and for an image, just only give praise. Never, never say anything that might be on someone's mind or some kind of concern. Don't do that. Don't admit faults to another ever. Don't ever do that. Don't admit any of your faults. The Father would then surely heal you if you did what that truly means. If you did that, what that means in your heart, He would surely heal someone. So we don't want you to do that. And if someone did what was right and good, then boom, the Creator can give you something just like that. Boom, He just put something else in your mind for truth, like a reward for doing that good. So they don't want you to be rewarded either. Just punished. These rewards aren't exactly what this world is interested in or wants. It's a disappointing thing to them. That was the old way, the old covenant, where the best rewards were carnal, worldly things. But now that the light has come, those things are the shadow and darkness, and the heavenly things are the true. And so you have to kind of make it sound like they're trash to exalt the truth, and yet they're not trash automatically, because we read the Creator knows what someone needs for these lower things. It's just that when you contrast it, it's nothing compared to it. It makes it look like the lower thing, like it's supposed to. Earthly things are supposed to be put in their place for its importance. And the heavenly things, which are way above, like the Creator literally teaches with His creation, like He does with everything, is way above. I don't believe millions of miles, but still, nevertheless, compared to the earth, it's way above. That would be good. That's called truth. Exalting earthly things as if they're the heavenly thing and flipping it around. And heavenly things that's just down on the earth is the lie. It's not what I see out in creation. I don't see the heavens right on the earth. It's above. It's teaching constantly His truth. Every time darkness comes, the sun comes back, the light comes back. Someone goes into darkness, they have to wait, just like the creation. You wait till morning comes. You have to wait it out. Could be a judgment, could be a testing. When the sun comes, then you could put the lamp away for now with the oil in it. And then something about this parable being true is that when the darkness comes, you can't see as much. Spiritually, you can't see as much. You just see a little around you, and it's like He takes away your sight. But then it comes back if someone waits. The light comes back. Cycle. Dark time meaning within someone, a believer. That's why Messiah teaches the parable. Night never comes. No, don't teach that. Night never comes on his people. Never. They don't have to get out their lamp and burn the spirit, which is painful, so that it creates a little bit of light around them. And they only see a little bit, so they don't stumble. But you can't see as much as you did in the daylight. That never happens, the world would want to say. Even though the creation teaches this every day, the night, and day and night, this never happens in someone's life. Never. Well, I know it's real because it's happened more than once. Wisdom doesn't get prideful when it thinks it's on a high mountain and the creator's lifted them up. You have to kind of figure that out after some failures. Wisdom is still very careful in the daylight and doesn't get prideful and say, nothing can stop me now. Nothing can get me to go in that darkness. I don't know what I was back then. I'm healed and I'm cured and I'm lifted up and I'm full of light and nothing will touch me now. Oops. Maybe not tomorrow. And you just have to believe it. That you can't, mock him, can't do evil, can't let pride get in. And he'll make it happen, just like he makes Peter deny Messiah 3 times, or on the 3rd time, he remembers, but he swears he'll never do it. Never. Well, he did, and he only remembered after it was too late, which was part of the way. It had to happen that way. I think I mentioned that on the last video or two. If it's part of his way and will, then this is the only way. Don't sin on purpose. That's a whole different thing, to sin on purpose, to try to increase grace or something. No. Now I can look back. There's some good out of it, because I believed it was Yahweh for a short time. And I don't see how I knew that. I don't see how I knew that. That's the truth. I don't know how I knew that. I didn't. Then I thought it was, I think the next name was Yahuwah. And I think I saw a little more about that. There was maybe another step in the right direction of a little less blind than the first thing, which was just like, I guess this is what it is. I determined it. Now I could see that wasn't right either, that I didn't see how that could be true for real. That's me. And it went against his word, which is what I didn't see. Moshe is beautiful Hebrew to someone. Old, ancient, beautiful Hebrew. See that right when someone does that, they get you to believe a weird thing by saying that. They set you up for the next step. You have to get that in your mind first, that it's some kind of beautiful, ancient sounding Hebrew. And I'm saying his name, these names, which he includes 3 in this case, but Jehovah is one of them, is definitely not that beautiful ancient sound. Why? He doesn't say why. Tell everyone why. What's their proof? Because it doesn't sound like it to him. But Moshe does. Shalom sounds like beautiful ancient Hebrew. Shalom, Moshe. Yehovah now is way off. That has nothing to do, just determining its own things. Wonder what someone would think about other names. Messiah's name, what do they say his name is? And is that ancient, beautiful Hebrew? Is it beautiful like grace? Chen? Is it beautiful like that? Like a beast? Beasts need his grace. I see the beast all over his word like never before, constantly teaching that man's a beast. And that letter is like a four-footed beast from the side, 2D. It kind of looks like it. If you were looking at a beast from the side, that sound letter seems to resemble that. And his beasts need grace. They need his favor. Then someone could make up and say, well, because it sounds like that, that means his favor, his grace is beastly and wicked. Why? Because it sounds like it. Pretty tricky. Nobody wants to be connected to that image. Bad sounds, bad sounding thing. Only good sounds. I think that's all I got. Peace, take care, seek truth from above, and hope your sleep is good and not nightmares.